Deal TV, learn and earn.
A good morning, good evening, good night, wherever you're watching us from. Welcome to Deal Coffee Show on Deal TV Africa, Deal TV Learn and Earn. My name is Mukwaya Mayanja Yusuf, your usual host. Remember, the Deal Coffee on Deal TV is where we'll discuss the latest news trends impacting the African continent. Today, we shall be exploring the topic of a single currency for Africa. There has been a lot of discussion, allegations, who is hindering the process, who is stopping it, where some of the leading African giants or politicians think that we should go block by block unification, not having a single currency of Africa, not having a unified Africa. And then there are cases where people like Muammar Gaddafi were advancing the issue of having a single currency could have been the problem why he was overthrown. So with the advance of the BRIC, that's Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa trying to create a bloc of its own to go from the European Union and those other stuff. We need to look at Africa, and then with the Africa, then we address the issue of having a single currency. So how is it beneficial to the continent? How can it help? What is hindering the advance? So this is what we are going to look at. While many African countries currently have their own currencies, there has been growing interest in the possibility of a shared currency that would promote greater economic integration and facilitate cross-border trade. So on this segment, we shall be discussing the potential benefits and drawbacks of a single currency, examining real-world examples from other regions, and exploring whether a shared currency for Africa is realistic. Is it the possibility of having a single currency? So grab your cup of coffee and join us as we dive into the fascinating and complex topic of Africa having a single currency. So we shall start. Why a single currency for Africa? Africa is a vast continent with 54 countries, each with its own currency. However, the idea of a single currency for Africa has been discussed for many years. The idea is that a common currency would help to increase economic integration, trade, and investment across the continent. Additionally, a single currency could reduce transaction costs for business and individuals and make it easier for African countries to negotiate with the rest of the world as a unified bloc. However, implementing a single currency across such a diverse continent would be a complex process, and there are many challenges and drawbacks that must be carefully considered. On this video, we examine both the potential benefits and the challenges of a single currency in Africa. The potential benefits of a single currency include the increased trade, economic integration, reduced transaction costs, and more. One of the most significant potential benefits of a single currency for Africa would be increased trade. With a common currency, it would be easier for business and individuals to engage in cross-border trade, which could help to boost economic growth and create new opportunities for African entrepreneurs. As we know, to be giants, to be on the table of men, we have to be enterprising and create wealth. So a single currency could also help to promote economic integration across the continent. By standardizing the currency, it would be easier for African countries to coordinate their economic policies, which could lead to greater stability and cooperation. Remember, we having different countries where some are struggling, some of the policies are not at par. So if we are having a common policy that could be used by all the countries, then we could be on a certain same level that could be stronger economically. So a single currency could also help to promote economic integration across the continent. By standardizing the currency, it would be easier for African countries to coordinate their economic policies, which could lead to greater stability and cooperation. Another potential benefit of a single currency is reduced transaction cost. Currently, business and individuals who are engaging in cross-border transactions must be dealing with multiple currencies, which can be costly and time-consuming. A single currency would eliminate this problem, making it easier and cheaper to do business across the continent. Other potential benefit for a single currency include increased foreign investment, improved the price stability, and enhanced political cooperation. However, it's important to note that these benefits would only be realized if a single currency were implemented effectively and with careful consideration of the challenges involved. So what could be the challenges and drawbacks of a single currency? Loss of monetary sovereignty from these single countries, then the economic shocks and divergent needs and political challenges. While a single currency for Africa could offer many potential benefits, there are also significant challenges and drawbacks that must be carefully considered. One of the most significant challenges is the loss of monetary sovereignty that would come with a common currency. Currently, each African country has its own central bank, which is responsible for setting up monetary policies and regulating the currency. So with a single currency, these functions would be transferred to a supernatural authority, which could be seen as a loss of control by individuals. You could see, for example, with the emergence of the East African community, there has been the advance of having a single East African bank that would replace the Bank of Kenya, Central Bank of Kenya, Central Bank of TZ or Uganda. So, but then you've seen the struggles of each country fighting. For example, the head office for this East African Central Bank was to be established in Kampala. Then before we knew, there was a bit of temperatures. Then it was transferred to TZ, and then TZ is not also yet there. So this loss of sovereignty comes with big cost as countries seem to lose control of their individual powers. Another challenge is the potential for economic shocks and divergent needs. African countries have vastly different economies with different levels of development, resources, and industries. This means that they may experience economic shocks differently and may have different needs for monetary policies. A single currency would require a coordinated approach to these issues, which could be difficult to achieve. Finally, there are also significant political challenges associated with a single currency for Africa. Any proposal for a common currency would need to be approved by all the 54 countries, each of their with their interests and priorities. Additionally, there would be concerns about which country would host a supernatural authority responsible for the currency, as well as a question about governance and decision-making process of the authority. The authority, as I've been talking about before, about the East African Central Bank, that whose headquarters has been a stone in a shoe for some time. Overall, a single currency for Africa could offer many potential benefits, and there are significant challenges and drawbacks that must be considered. A proposal for a common currency would need to be carefully balanced and then coordinated so that it can be executed to be beneficial. So let's look at the real world examples. What lessons could we learn from other regions? For example, the European Union and other regions. The European Union provides perhaps the most well-known example of a common currency. The euro was adopted by 19 European countries, the EU member states, in 1999 with the aim of increasing economic integration and reducing transaction cost. Where the euro has been successful in achieving these goals to some extent, it has also faced significant challenges. One of the most notable challenges has been the loss of monetary sovereignty by individual countries, which has led to a tension between member states over issues such as fiscal policy and bailout for struggling economies. Additionally, the Eurozone crisis of 2009-2012 highlighted the potential risk associated with the common currency, including the fact that economic shocks can affect different countries differently. So other regions have also adopted common currencies with varying degrees of success. For example, the West Africa Economic and Monetary Union, UEMOA, has had a common currency. Then the CFA franc since 1945. The CFA franc has helped to facilitate trade and economic integration within the region, but has also faced criticism for perpetuating colonial era economic relations between France and its former colonies. You've seen most of these countries in Africa that were formerly colonized by France always having issues with this, so it gets tricky at certain level. The lessons we've learned from these and other examples suggest that a single currency for Africa would need to carefully balance the benefits and challenges to take into account the unique economic, political, and social factors that exist on the continent. Additionally, any proposal for a common currency would need to include mechanisms for addressing economic shocks and divergent needs, as well as ensuring that individual countries have a voice in decision making, which could be difficult since most of the countries are not on the same political level and then economic level. So as we get to the end of this show episode, is a single currency for Africa realistic? Remains a question to ask and linger, and that would be taking on some time. However, what would be the steps needed to make it happen? While a single currency for Africa could offer many potential benefits, there are also significant challenges and drawbacks that must be carefully considered. These include the loss of monetary sovereignty, and the potential for economic shocks and divergent needs, and political challenges associated with creating a supranational authority. Despite these challenges, a single currency for Africa is not as impossible a dream as it may be seeming up there. So if there is will, there is a way. The success of the euro and other common currencies demonstrate that it is possible for countries to share a currency while retaining some level of economic and political independence. However, any proposal for a single currency for Africa would need to carefully balance the benefits and the challenges and take into account the unique economic, political, and social factors that exist on the continent. In order to make a single currency for Africa a reality, several steps would need to be taken. This would include building a stronger economic and political case for the currency, engaging in extensive consultation with the African countries and stakeholders, and establishing a clear and transparent governance structure for the currency. Additionally, mechanisms for addressing economic shocks and divergent needs would need to be put in place, and individual countries would need to be given a voice in decision-making process. Overall, while a single currency for Africa may be a challenge and complex undertaking, it is a possibility that should not be dismissed out of hand. With careful planning, consultation, and cooperation, a common currency would help to unlock new economic opportunities and promote greater unity and integration across the continent. As we've always told you, Africa is the future and the future is now. So it's up to us to look for all the ways that we can make Africa a better place to be economically, politically, socially, in all aspects of life. That's all we have today on the Dale Coffee Show. We hope this discussion has shed some light on the potential benefits and challenges of a single currency of Africa and provide some insignificant insight into the steps that would need to be taken to make it a reality. As always, we encourage our viewers to continue the conversation and share their thoughts and perspectives on this important topic. Until next time, thanks for joining us on the Dale Coffee Show on Dale TV Africa, Dale TV Learn and subscribe, comment, like and share. My name is Mkwaya Mayanja Yusuf. Until we meet then, bye bye.
Dale TV, learn and earn.